Martha, a little girl with thick brown hair and bright blue eyes, loved to spend time on the sandbox in the park. One day, when all the children had gone home, she was alone and continued to play. Suddenly, her gaze fell on a strange child who appeared out of nowhere. He was dressed in unusual space clothes that glowed and emitted a mysterious aura. As Martha got closer to the child, she saw that he looked a lot like herself. The mysterious child smiled and introduced herself as Zora. She told Martha that she came from the planet Zeon, which was lost in space. Zeon was a world of magic and wonder, but because of dark forces, Zora was the planet's last hope. Zora showed Martha the dark and horrible visions she had begun to dream about at night. She showed Martha how the evil superhero Zeptron used his powers to torture Zeon. The inhabitants of the planet were slowly turned to stone, and Zeptron himself dominated the entire planet. Martha watched these visions with horror. It's decided Martha and Zora must save Zeon. They set to work building an interplanetary transport to travel to the planet Zeon and defeat Zeptron. Using their childlike imagination and ingenuity, they collected old toys, household items, and a piece of meteorite that Zora brought with her. By combining the various elements, they created an incredible vehicle capable of carrying them through space. When the transport was ready, Martha and Zora boldly took off into space, heading for Zeon. The journey was exciting as they flew past stars, planets, and galaxies, observing the beauty of the universe. Martha felt she was embarking on a great adventure and was filled with anticipation and excitement. They were flying, heading towards their goal of saving the planet Zeon. Upon arriving on Zeon, Martha and Zora discovered that the planet had fallen into a deep sleep. All the inhabitants who had not been turned to stone were sleeping silently. Martha and Zora were stunned at the sight of a virtually empty and lifeless planet. Zora explained that the only way to wake up the inhabitants of Zeon was to find the magic key and restore its power. Martha and Zora set out on a risky search for the magic key. The planet Zeon turned out to be full of mysteries and secrets. They explored various places, secret caves, ancient ruins, and beautiful gardens, hoping to find traces of the key. As they traveled, they encountered dangers, solved puzzles, and deciphered ancient writings. As Martha and Zora delved deeper into the search, Martha learned more about Zora's abilities. It turned out that Zora had unique powers that allowed her to manipulate nature and create powerful energy fields. They used these abilities to overcome obstacles and protect themselves from the dangers they encountered along the way. Finally, Martha and Zora discovered the location of Zeptron, an evil superhero who had enslaved Zeon. Zeptron turned out to be much stronger and more cunning than they expected. He sent dark forces to them and incarnated himself in various forms to stop Martha and Zora. But they did not despair and were ready to confront Zeptron to save the planet. Martha and Zora used their friendship and combined strength to strategize a victory. They used everything they learned and gathered along the way to defeat Zeptron. Through hard-fought and intense battles with Zeptron, they finally won. The power of friendship and faith in good overcame evil, and Zeptron was defeated. Martha and Zora finally reached the planet Zeon. When they landed, they were struck with horror. The planet was covered with musty green fields, blue lakes, and mountains covered with glaciers. They came to the city of Zeonia, which was completely abandoned. The buildings were destroyed and the streets were empty. Zora explained that Zeptron had used his dark powers to desolate the torture over the planet. Martha's gut told her that there must be some powerful relic or artifact that could awaken the planet and bring it back to life. Martha and Zora set off in search of the magic key, which, according to legend, can awaken the planet Zeon. Their path led through dangerous forests and frozen lakes. They faced many challenges, including puzzles, traps, and guards left over from Zeptron's torture. Finally, they found the artifact, the magic key. It was a bright green key-shaped amulet that glowed and radiated power and life energy. Martha and Zora used the key to awaken the planet. However, it wasn't that simple. The key required the performance of a certain ritual that involved sorcery and merging with Zeon's energy. Slowly but inexorably, the planet began to come to life. The earth began to breathe, flowers bloomed, and rivers and lakes filled with blue and clear waters. The buildings on the streets of Zeon recovered and began to radiate light and warmth. The people of Zeon gradually awakened from their long sleep and welcomed their new life with joy. The people of Zeon were grateful to Martha and Zora for saving them. They threw a grand celebration in honor of the heroes who brought the planet back to life. Everything was decorated with brightly colored flags, music, and laughter. The people of Zeon danced and sang in gratitude for their new beginning. The moment of farewell came. Martha and Zora watched joyfully as Zeon was fully restored. Martha promised to return to see this beautiful planet one more time. They got into their space car and left Zeon. Gradually, Martha and Zora came back to reality. They were back on the sandbox in the park. Martha turned around and saw that Zora had disappeared, but she still had the amulet, the magic key, in her hands. As a memory of all the adventures on Zona, Martha felt great gratitude and joy for meeting Zora and for saving Zeon together. They promised to meet and spend a lot of time together to make up new stories and adventures. Martha and Zora returned to their imaginary games and adventures in the sandbox. They continued to tell each other new stories and have exciting games that were inspired by their adventures on Zeon. Martha and Zora realized that their adventures were just beginning. They took the magic key into their imaginations and continued to create new worlds and stories. They knew they could face any challenge together and that their friendship and imagination would make their journeys unforgettable.